Hi, my name is Lance Parker, the Senior Advisor and Coordinator at UT Health Science Center at Tyler. I would like to welcome you back to the Lunch and Learn series today. I have Dr. Christina Tula and Mr. Noah Burwell with me today. Today's Lunch and Learn segment will be covering time management, focusing on intentional habits for success. The Lunch and Learn series provides engaging conversation, meaningful information to support the professional growth of students, trainees, and stakeholders. By the end of this segment, you will be able to define time management, identify the key time management strategies, and recognize why time management aids success. How are you guys doing today?
Doing
Pretty
good.
good. Thanks for inviting us here.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Awesome. So we're going to talk about time management today, and I have this 5 questions for you guys that we can have some dialogue about. So, Miss Dr. Tula, I want to ask you the first question. Why is time management essential for success?
Because time is limited. We have a small amount of time each day. And in order to be really effective in our life, in our professional career, we have to be able to manage our time. And it helps you like not overpromise on the work that you're going to do, understand how much time things are going to take. Because I think the biggest pitfall that we face is overpromising and becoming overwhelmed and then becoming burnout and not ever having enough time to do the things that we love. And we try to take a break and do something for our mental health or for ourselves, and then we feel guilty because all we keep thinking about is all the other things we need to do. And when we don't focus on time management and don't have those really good skills, then it's harder for us to set those boundaries and to really allow ourselves to relax and accept that.
Mr. Burwell, would you want to add or expound a little bit on what's your idea?
Yeah, I mean, number one, I agree with Dr. Toole with all she said about time management and being limited and kind of organizing, prioritizing work life and then regular life and having a mesh in between to prevent burnout. And it's really important and essential to success, not just for your occupation, but even for peace of mind. To be successful at your occupation, you got to have peace of mind outside of work. So I definitely agree with Ms. Toole on that.
Great, great. So this brings me to my next question. Why is time management important specifically for graduate students?
So I would say competing priorities. When you're in grad school, there's not as much structure to fall back on like we have in high school and even in undergrad. And most graduate students are juggling work and personal life, which for some people includes a spouse or a significant other, and sometimes even kids, and then school. We have 24 hours in a day, and in theory, you are working for at least 8 hours a day and ideally sleeping for 8 hours a day. So then you only have 8 non-consecutive hours to parse out between your family, your personal errands, your class, like attending class and completing assignments. And it can be really challenging to fit it all in. And if you're not mindful of your time, then you end up making a lot of sacrifices. And it's hard to choose between going to your kid's soccer game or going to class or spending an extra hour on your assignment or spending an hour with your spouse. And so we face these challenges, and it's something that in undergrad you don't really have to worry about, and definitely not in high school. And so graduate students need a little bit more support in developing their time management because there's a lot less structure for them to fall back on.
I would definitely agree with that. Having a structured environment is very important for graduate students. What do you think, Mr. Burwell?
Yeah, that structure is something I'm just now developing in my last semester of graduate school. So I definitely agree because at the beginning, it's just, life hits you hard. You think you coming in from undergrad, immediate into graduate, and it's like, okay, the schedule is set for me. I can just get the assignments done this time. Really, it's not. You got to juggle a lot of things at once and be really professional about your approach on how you do the assignments because this isn't just do it to get it done. This is doing it to help you in the professional development and your career and things like that. So I definitely agree with both of you on the challenge and being able to get through graduate school successfully. I mean, time management is a very primal part of that.
And Mr. Burwell, you hit, I think, a really key point, and that's professionalism. There is a much greater expectation in graduate school that you are professional in your classes, and that is not an expectation in undergrad. You know, I teach undergraduate students, and I was one a long time ago, and I get emails from them demanding I fix a grade or demanding things from me. And with graduate students, we would never accept that because they are held to a higher standard. And sometimes if they go straight from undergrad to grad school, they may not have learned that skill. And so that's another challenge that they're facing, is they suddenly have this expectation of professionalism and may not have any career experience or other experience that lets them know what that really looks like. And that can make it really difficult because you feel like your professors aren't communicating with you, or you don't understand. And then they feel like you're not being respectful of them. And it creates a whole new challenge that definitely is not faced in undergrad.
Exactly.
And Dr. Christina Atula, you hit a very key point. You said for those graduate students who go straight from undergraduate to graduate programs, they don't have that understanding of professionalism because they haven't embarked on a career or haven't started a career yet. So I think you definitely hit a very key point there. My next question is, what are some tips graduate students can utilize to develop time management skills? Mr. Burrell, you can start this one off.
I mean, a great tip I started using is very old school, I would say, is go get a calendar and really write out what you do every week for 30 days. Really get it down and then put it in your iPhone, your Android, your MacBook, your laptop, make sure that reflects it electronically. So you're keeping on track with everything you need to do. And not only that, make sure you communicate with your professors early. That's a good, very, very, very important thing. Don't wait. You have a meeting and you have an assignment due. Let them know, hey, on this week, I have an assignment due and a meeting. Is it okay if I turn in early and get feedback? Things like that. They really appreciate that professionalism. And to piggyback off our last question, so that'll be a tip I have for graduate students.
Yeah, I would say that if anybody understands competing priority, it's faculty, because in addition to teaching classes, they're usually working on research projects and writing grants, and they have a lot of meetings to go to. So definitely communicating early and often. I think one of the challenges is that graduate students face is not being able to build that relationship with their faculty member. And with smaller class sizes, that's much easier to do. But if you didn't do it in undergrad, you don't think about doing it in grad school. And it becomes so much more important in your graduate and professional career to reach out when something is going on and just see what can be done. And, I've had students reach out to me and tell me that they had a lot going on and they were going to have to make sacrifices. And so I developed a plan with them so they could still be successful in my class, right? And a lot of students don't realize that that's an option, and not all faculty will do it, but you definitely can't have that option if you don't talk to them. I think the one tip that I would give for time management really builds on what Mr. Burwell said. Once you get your calendar down, the best thing you can do is drag emails to your calendar. So if you're using Outlook and most other mail apps, you can drag your email to the little calendar icon on the bottom, and it will let you schedule it on your calendar. And that's a great way to have a reminder of when to reply to an email, so you don't have to stop what you're doing and reply right now. Or if it's got a to-do item in there, you can schedule when you're going to work on that. And it gives you the opportunity to block off time to work on specific projects. And that helps you really visualize how much time you actually have to do things and really what your day is going to look like.
I would agree. So my next question is, what time management theory do you suggest students use?
Mr. Burwell, do you prescribe a specific theory for time management?
Not a specific one. I mean, one I can remember back in undergrad, probably my sophomore year, we did an assessment on the pickle jar theory, which pretty much, it's like a pickle jar, which is your time. Then you have important tasks and not so important tasks, and then the really important task. And you break that down with sand, pebbles, and rocks. So the most important are going to be the rocks. You want to get the rocks out, and then the pebbles, which are the, in between, and then the grains of sand are kind of the unimportant things we tend to do, like look at our phone 30 times to see who posted something on Instagram. Those are unimportant things that we choose to do. But that's probably one of the only theories I've chosen to kind of assess as a curriculum thing for undergrad. But other than that, I'm not too familiar with what theories exactly work. But that's one I'm familiar with.
I think that pickle jar one is a really good visualization of how we spend our time, because it can be difficult to think about. And I hate looking at it, but I have it up on my phone where it shows me how much time I spend on different apps. And I'm always disappointed with, with how much time I spend on social media, because it's really just a mindless activity and you don't realize that you're using so much time doing it. So I think that's a really good one. I was thrown off by the word theory because I don't think I know very many time management theories. But I would say learn a lot of different strategies, and be open to different ones and trying them. And they may not work for you right now, but being flexible is the most important, because what worked for me in undergrad did not work for grad school and did not work in my doctoral degree. So with each degree I did, I had very different time management strategies I used. And some of those I still use in my professional life, and most of them I've modified because I just have different types of priorities and different things going on. And so I just had a little bit different need.
I would agree. I mean, I'm very familiar with the pickle theory. I kind of use that in my graduate program, but now that I've to a doctoral program, it doesn't really work that well because everything is just spaced out, and sometimes it's clumped together, spaced out. And so I would definitely agree with you, Dr. Tool. It's about the approach and just developing different strategies that best suit you in the situation that you're in life. So I definitely agree on that one. So my final question is, for our students, do you suggest that they go view LinkedIn Learning to view some additional resources in developing time management?
Absolutely. I am a big proponent of LinkedIn Learning. At least 3 mornings a week, I watch a LinkedIn Learning course, not specifically on time management, but on a variety of skills, because those classes, a lot of them are 30 minutes or less. And so I can put them on and listen while I'm doing my makeup or doing my morning routine, even while I'm driving, because you can listen, you don't have to watch the videos. And I think it's a really good way to learn new strategies and kind of get introduced to things that you may want to find out more about. And not just with time management, but with all of the essential skills. And time management is a foundational skill that we need, and it's not really taught. If we think about K through 12, your day is very structured and there's a lot of expectations, and then we get to undergrad and there's structure, but it's not as much as in K through 12. And then we kind of are on our own in this world, and we never were really given the tools to budget our time, and we like not even budget our money. And so that becomes these problems of how do we manage, how do we keep ourselves from feeling overwhelmed. And I was just listening to a TED talk about when people get stressed out and overwhelmed, it changes their perspective of what's going on, and little things that are rather inconsequential end up becoming life altering, end of the world moments that stress you out even more because you're already stressed. And so when we take a step back and really focus on our foundational essential skills, we have the ability in those really stressful moments to change our perspective and really put things into place and say, is this really end of the world, or am I just overwhelmed and need a beat?
Mr. Burwell, do you want to expound on that?
Oh yeah. I'm an avid user of LinkedIn Learning, and I recall I got a reminder a year ago around this time. This is when we were asked to work from home for a little while, and that little while turned into now a year later. So the first thing I did was look at all the courses on time management, because it was no longer a consistent structure of what I would do at work, you know. So I was like, well, how do I manage my time better and do my job as the highest at the highest regard, and make sure I'm being effective and making an impact on the people not only I work with, but the students I work with and all the primary education I work with. So yeah, I definitely agree that the students at the Health Science Center and UT Tyler really take advantage of LinkedIn Learning and all the tools they have on there. Like Dr. Toole said, it's so many things you can learn just listening and taking that 30 minutes out your day to really gain an essential skill that'll help you future endeavors and be better at what you want to do, and just in life in general, it really helps out.
Well, what an amazing Lunch and Learn session today. Thank you, Dr. Christina Tula, and thank you, Mr. Burwell, for taking the time to give such fruitful advice to students, faculty, and staff. You all mentioned that time management is a very important piece to career success and educational success. So as the students and faculty, you can apply these tips and strategies from the discussion today to your career and your educational journey. Thank you for tuning in. Until next time, this is Lance Parker signing off.